Are we in a little bit of a shadow?
I can't tell if we're actually in the shadow or if we're seeing
Okay.
the
Hey, folks.
shadow.
Lester and Jamie here, and welcome to Sanctuary Sunday, even though we're at Longhorn Lester's. And I think we have to adjust. Just give us a second here to make a couple of adjustments. I think everything changed on your phone. Y'all hold on 1 second.
Like, what do you mean?
I
Like,
think that
light wise?
it looks like we're in kind of a shadow. I know that we're looking pretty good here, and maybe it's
Everybody's
fine.
looking at my armpit right now.
Nah, okay. I think that we're good. Um, there. Welcome and happy Sunday. We had Lex this weekend, and I was blessed that Lex wanted to spend time here at Longhorn Lester's. It didn't happen a whole lot.
No.
Lex likes to be around his cousins, and but no, he actually wanted to come to Longhorn Lester's. And then this morning, when I got ready to drive him back over to mom and dad's, he wanted to stay. He wanted to stay. And
It was
so,
very different because normally he's reluctant to come because it's just car time. Like, it's less time of doing what Lex wants to do in car time. So it was nice that he was like, yeah, let's go. I think he really enjoyed Billy Bob. Like, I
oh
do
my,
think
yes, he does
I think
love that little dog.
that was a big part of it. And then I just think that also it's like once you get somewhere and it's really fun, then you're like, oh, I don't want to leave.
That's the thing.
So
Sometimes he forgets how much fun he has here.
mhm.
And I will also say that when he's here, there's a lot more to do than just Xbox.
Yes.
And so, really, if you think about it, and I've talked about this before, I think that kids, when they're kids, especially, all they really want is time with those that they love, and that could be friends, but it could mostly be parents.
Mhm.
And whenever Lex comes to Longhorn Lester's, and he kind of has a chance to get away from just the phone and the games, and he's actually able to live a little and spend time with animals and with nature, and doing things that are fun like that
Well, with us too.
with well, yeah, we're right with him the whole time. Anyway, he made a really cute video today that he uploaded to his channel. He was so proud of himself. He made $17. No, in the month of March. I don't know if you all know this, and I'm bragging on my kids. Let me brag on my kids for a minute, please. But I was so proud of Lex that in the month of March, he started his YouTube channel on March the 1st for his birthday, part of his birthday. He wanted to do it for his birthday. So we helped him kind of it takes time to create all of that stuff. And we helped him create a channel, and he began to upload some videos, and he was so proud that he's made $17.
Hey.
However, you're not going to like what I'm about to tell you. Lex has also learned, because his mom lives in the city, so Lex has learned how to have the apps for DoorDash and Uber Eats and all of those kind of things. And so when at the end of the month he finally got his statement that he made $17, and he says, "Well, $17 buy McDonald's?" And I says, "Yeah, it might even, for what you eat, it might even buy McDonald's twice." And so he told me that the next time his mom makes him eat something he doesn't like, he's going to go to his phone and order McDonald's. And I says, "No, you're not. No, you're not.
That's bad.
Your mom would be so mad if all of a sudden someone knocks on the door and there's a McDonald's guy or the Uber guy with a McDonald's delivery, because Lex has made $17." But I love the fact that in a kid's mind, $17 was a huge thing. And I remember the days, Jamie, when I would run across a $5 bill in my
I was gonna say
in
that
the washing
wasn't a
machine.
kid thing. That was an adult thing.
Yes, that wasn't long ago. You run across a few dollars, and man, do I have enough to do this? And so I'm so proud of him. But if y'all ever get a chance and you want to spend some free time on watching video from a 11-year-old's perspective, he made a video on Thursday of he and I on our entire Thursday night routine, from pickup to all that we do on a Thursday night. And then, of course, he made one today of feed time with his dad at Longhorn Lester's.
On Thursday night, he also videoed like his little snack routine, which involves him doing some microwave cooking. And there was like a proud stepmom moment in there, because he put a paper towel down in the microwave to prevent the mess.
I'm like, where did you learn that from? Yeah, Jamie taught him that. That was a happy moment. Yeah, because he doesn't, I don't sit there and tell him what to do. You know, I want him to be independent and do his thing. And he wants to make his own meal. And he made his macaroni and cheese, but he put that paper towel down because any overflow, he could just simply wipe it up. So
well, last night he was in the hot tub later than Lester and I were. And I had brought out a towel and different clothes, you know, like for him to sleep in. And he came in and goes, where do you want me to put my dirty laundry? Let me just like be still my heart, because
I can't even always remember.
Like, that's why I'm like, can you tell your dad where to put his dirty laundry? Because I'm out there picking up your dad's dirty laundry.
Yeah.
No, I think those are really good things to instill in anyone. And Lester missed the memo on that at some point in his life. That just became like meh, faded later. It's fine. But Lex is doing a really great job at all that you know, middle schooling, I guess is what you call it. We don't call it adulting. That's like middle schooling. But no, it's really good.
I'm proud of him. I did put the name of his little page right there. And he's only on YouTube. But if anybody wants to, then he enjoys making little videos. And we always enjoy seeing our kids grow and mature. Yeah. And it's neat because there will come a time whenever he will be much older. Yeah. And as long as YouTube and Facebook are around, he'll always be able to look back and remember the younger days. And so it's nice that I'm in a part of those videos with him. He interviewed his mom. I don't know if you saw that one or not. He interviewed his mom. He interviewed Gigi and Pawpaw.
Believe it or not, Lex is the only channel that I watch every video on.
That's hurtful.
Guilty.
So it's cute, and I love that little guy. But I just now drove him back. So I'm just getting back. Jamie's already come in, and she's all clean, and she's all prettied up. And I says, do my feet smell bad? Do I need to go wash my feet? She goes, no, you're fine. She goes, you're lucky I love you, though. So that means my feet do smell bad.
It just means that there's a shower in store for you this evening.
Of course there is. I would never go without a bath or a shower.
I know. I'm only teasing.
Preferably a bath. The longer, the better. So, yeah, I think that you all are aware now that you can probably tell that I'm beating around the bush. I'm beating around the bush, Jamie, and I've been known to do that at times when there's topics to be discussed that are hard to talk about. But I think that by now most people know that we did lose a very, very special little girl this weekend, and it was hard because we discovered her while we had company here.
It was really hard.
And so Courtney and Ashley had come out early. They'd come out early Saturday morning to work with the horse. They had a very busy day planned that day, and they had come out really early. And so that got Jamie and me up earlier than normal. We had our coffee and we began to move around. And it was while they were here that we discovered that our sweet Pebbles had not survived the night. She'd passed overnight. And we knew that she'd been sick. And what's crazy, though, is that we were at the vet on Friday, and we spent half the day there. Jamie, I took her in myself. Yeah. I wanted to be there with her because I known for a while she wasn't feeling real good. And I don't know if you all remember this, but when Mr. Huck had gotten sick, and everyone knows that goats and sheep especially are known for having a very low will to live. I don't know why it is, guys. That's something that you can probably Google and find out, but I don't know. But some animals they have a lower will to live than others do. Yeah. And when Mr. Huck had gotten sick, well, he'd been sick most of his life. You all know that. But when he would get real bad, he would sometimes go stand facing the wall of the barn,
off to himself, and just stand.
And that was always a sign to us that he's lost his will to live, and he's content just to kind of stand in that spot until he takes his last breath. And so what we did with Mr. Huck was begin to try to find him a change of scenery. We tried to find ways to help him find a will to live.
To find mental stimulation in goats is something they need, and it's part of their mental well-being as well. And just like Lester said, changing the scenery and giving them drive can sometimes alter their state of mind.
Yeah. So we began to let him out of the pasture. We would literally open the gate and let him out. And my line of thinking was, you want to go tear up the feed room, go tear it up. You want to go eat all of my trees, then just go eat them up. And at least I'll keep him alive. And how shocked were we that by us letting him out every day to just run around, he could sleep where he wanted to sleep. And he would sometimes, come up on the porch and hang out and jump in the rocking chairs and hang out. But he was doing something out of the norm. And it gave him a desire to want to wake up every day and see what the next day was going to hold. And then the next day. And so we began to do that with Mr. Huck for a while, where he didn't have the same rules to follow as everybody else. And he'd get in some trouble. But we eventually brought him here to Longhorn Lester's once we had secured a place and got our fencing done, and made him our goat leader. And all of those things have kind of tied into making him a lot healthier goat. And I'll tell you what, I don't think he'd be here today if we had not found a way to give him that will to live.
I would agree.
So when we noticed that Pebbles, we'd known for a while that she was a little dull in color. And jump in, and if I forget anything.
I would even say before she came to Longhorn Lester's last year, she had just a dull look to her. And we had done all of the deworming. She was vaccinated up to date. She had been to the vet. And we just thought it was similar, just a mental thing, and that the stimulation at Longhorn Lester's would be enough. And for a while, I think that it felt like it was. But then she has this, similar to Huck, a roller coaster,
yeah,
of health. But the weirdest part about Pebbles, though, is that we thought bringing her back to Longhorn Lester's, maybe the hills were too much because of her previous broken leg. Like we have put so much thought into the whats and the maybes and all of that. And then bringing her to the vet to just try to run through anything that we couldn't see. And that meant blood work and ultrasounds and x-rays and things like that to be able to see inside, still revealed like nothingness. Like I say nothingness, it revealed a mineral deficiency, but nothing was catastrophic or critical. I mean, nothing was beyond just here, do XYZ. And even when she got here, you want to talk about that? Because like that for me is still the most baffling part, between the vet visit and then the get here, that last, like, I'll say 18 hours.
Well, I'll back up a couple of days, actually.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. So we begin to notice that Pebbles, even though she didn't really look well, she was starting to act not well, because she had not looked well in a while.
Yeah.
But like Jamie said, we do all that we know how to do. And then you begin to, seek, outside help. And we begin to realize that she was kind of losing her will. She began to not go off and forage and graze with everybody else. And she began to kind of hang back. So I remember the day that the lady came to do all of the alpaca shearing was the first day that I'm like, I'm letting her out. I'm going to let her out of the yard, because she's just standing there in the corner. She's staring in the wall. And so she was out all of that day. And for you guys who saw us trying to wrangle the alpaca and guide them into the stall, you maybe noticed that Pebbles was kind of like out.
Yeah.
And we didn't draw attention to it, because I just wanted her to. At that point, Jamie made us an appointment for the vet. They couldn't see us until Friday. We didn't think there was an emergency, but we wanted to go ahead and take her in.
I also extra dewormed her that day one more time with different
we got the dewormer.
I gave her B12 as well, which for our B complex, and with B12, which is for goats, it's like power punch basically. So I did it that day. I did the B12 again later that day and the next day as well, to give her a boost of things that goats need.
And so, sure enough, on Friday, I took her in for our appointment, and I told the vet, I said she's making funny sounds, not her normal sound. Her demeanor is different, and I had already diagnosed. I had this diagnosis that she is, she must be wormy, and she must be, what else did I say?
You said she was anemic.
And she must be anemic because her eyelids, her eyelids looked kind of pale, and her gums were pale, and I already knew what was wrong with her. So just fix those things, and we'll be out of your hair. But those weren't the things. Her worm count was very normal, and she didn't have it. She wasn't anemic. But what the vet did discover is that she was fairly lacking in quite a few different nutrients, minerals, in particular. And so, talking to the vet, she gave me a whole list of things that we could start doing. Alfalfa hay provides a lot of things, and I'm like, we've been doing that like all winter long, but it is what it is. Jamie went by and bought the mineral blocks and the other things that we were told to get, and we met here at Longhorn Lester's. I wanted to bring her here because the vet said she was going to need
3 IVs a day.
3 IVs a day to help her because she had been dehydrated. And so obviously we spend more time here now, so we would have more time to spend with her.
Yeah, honestly, I was going to put her in with Dixie because of Dixie's amount of care, and like I'm out there anyway, so that was our plan, was really to do this, dual treatments along with that. And when Lester brought her back here, and we did what was that stuff called? The extra there's an extra vitamin piece that was given to us to give to her. Then we put the mineral block out, and there was and then I forgot. There was one more thing that we had to do. I did it. That's all I know.
I still go there right now to all the meds across our counter and just don't even know what half of them are called. But when Jamie's right, though, when we got back with Pebbles and we let her out of the truck, she seemed like she seemed like it was the funnest day with Dad. She was acting like her and Dad had this whole day getaway. Yeah, there's a little bit of blood work done, a little bit of this and that, but for the most part, her and Dad just had a great time.
She was like prancing around, like she followed me.
Her tail was up, which is a big indicator of health, and she got out of the truck like, "Hey, I'm back," and she cared about like everything. It was a Friday afternoon, and Pebbles was just going about her normal, like she never skipped a beat. And then the next morning, it was the next morning early when we found that she had not survived the night. So we are, I don't know. People generally, when you start going through a grieving process, there's a lot of things, a lot of steps that you do. I'm not going to go through all those steps tonight, obviously, but you doubt yourself. One of them is, I think, that you begin to doubt yourself and wonder what you could have done differently. And you get angry, you get mad, you want to get mad at somebody, you want to start screaming and hollering, and whose fault could this be? I don't know.
I think that you and I, though, do a lot more of like internal blame, and we've never blamed each other or anything like that, but I think we take it internally. And for me, I'm an overthinker naturally, but in all of the steps with Pebbles, like I go back to mentally playing in my head all of my interactions with her over the last week, then 2 weeks, then month, and to try to find what we missed, because I want to prevent it with anyone else. But with Pebbles, I really feel like we have done all of the things. And for the final piece to blood work and say it's a mineral deficiency and do XYZ, I still feel like I don't know how we could have known that was to that caliber, I guess is what I'm saying.
So I was telling Jamie, I have my own theory. And this is where I probably should just stop talking because my theories don't always make much sense. But you all know that we did lose Pebbles' brother when he was much younger. He had a blockage. He had a stone in his bladder, a kidney stone or something. and it ended up rupturing, like with little warning. He was great one day, and then
he was great 1 minute and
one
then wasn't.
and then wasn't. And so he passed in my arms, carrying him to the truck
That was so hard.
to go to rush him to the vet. After hours, there was a vet on call, and he passed. And so that's always been in my mind, because that was the only goat we've ever had that issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told Jamie that at the vet's office, and I've not spoken to Dr. Cochran or any of the vet techs since we left. I don't even know if they know that our sweet girl passed away that night. But I told Jamie something that I want you to think about it for a minute. The entire 15 miles of a drive to the vet's office, and then sitting in the actual office, the waiting room first for 30 minutes, then probably the actual room for 2 hours, and then the drive from the vet's office, which is an hour, here to Longhorn Lester's. And she never peed or never pooped. Not once. Not once. Not a once. And I think normally, if anyone who knows goats, you know that they are constantly going. They go a lot, a whole lot. And so now that I kind of like have time to reflect and think back, I wish I would have said to Dr. Cochran, hey, she's not peed or pooped for the last 2 hours. Could you do some kind of other test? Because I should have realized that if a goat's not peeing or pooping, something's wrong. Well, we knew she was dehydrated, so that may be why she wasn't peeing or pooping, I guess. So I don't know, but you're right. We start second guessing ourselves, and we sitting here telling
and then
ourselves,
you start
what
to
are we
look
doing
at
wrong?
everybody else out there and go, what else do we need to do to make sure this doesn't happen again? And I see people somebody in the comments keep saying, maybe it's your water, maybe it's your water. We have had all of our well water tested and are on a routine test for that. So it's nothing in there that is harmful.
Well, every animal that we have is extremely healthy. Pebbles was the only one who has been sick. Now, you know that Dixie, one of our horses, is also sick, but she's been diagnosed with a form of brain cancer, tumors, and cancerous tumors in her brain. And so we know that that's not related to what happened with Pebbles. So I think that it was best said by a friend of ours, another, a friend on the a friend of the channel, or who has his own channels, who called to console us and said that, hey, he goes, you can't save them all, and you just do God's work with those that you can, and for as long as you can. And those words are pretty powerful, because you know what? You do what you can for as long as you can, and you keep them along, keep them alive, keep them healthy, keep them happy. And so I tried to take that today, and I began to think a lot about it. And I really began to, last night when I'm working on the videos, and Jamie and I were both finding older videos that we could find to make sort of a tribute.
Ugly crying in this house last night as we were pulling up content, and
separate rooms. We'll never ugly cry in the same room.
That's not true. I ugly cry in front of you all the time.
And I normally will walk away.
It's true.
So Jamie was in one room ugly crying. I'm in the other room pretending to cough like I was just coughing. But pulling up old videos, and man, we had so many amazing moments with her. And I know that she was happy. I hate that she got sick at the end. But even on her last full day, I spent some really neat and fun moments with her, having her in the truck with me, watching her get upset with Trixie. Because when I opened the door, I put Pebbles, she wears a collar. She normally wears a bell. I took the bell off for the vet's off. You don't need a ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling at the bell's office. So I took the bell off, but I put a leash on her collar, and I walked her to the truck. And if lo and behold, Trixie doesn't jump up in the truck. And she's like, I'm going. And I'm like, Trixie, get down. You're not going. We're going to the vet. And Trixie's like, I'm going. And Trixie got all the way over on the far side. Like, I'm on this side and she can have that side. And I'm like, Trixie, you ain't going. So I went ahead and picked Pebbles up and put her on the floorboard right there beside Trixie. And I even said, when I open that other door, Trixie's going to be in trouble. And I walked around to the other side of the truck to open the door, let Trixie out. And by then, Pebbles was just sitting there ramming her and ramming her. So she felt that good.
Pebbles fashion.
She felt that good to ram the heck out of Trixie. Trixie now is scared and she's freaking out. And she's like, okay, let me out. Just let me out. Well, Pebbles is in the way now. So now Trixie's over on that side. So I walk back around to the other side of the truck and I open that door. And as Trixie jumps down, Pebbles just knocking the heck out of her. And then finally, it was just her and Daddy. And she was happy. Trixie wasn't. Trixie was not happy, but Trixie should have known better. I says, get down. Me and Pebbles, just for me and Pebbles, not for you, Trixie. But that was a sweet moment of a really powerful and if that is not typical Pebbles,
yes,
she has just rammed her way around. She's always been our female version of Ringo. I've always said that. She's a little girl goat who wears a bell, which is very uncommon because in the goat world, little ladies don't get to wear bells but she had that kind of a presence. She was that strong of a leader. And gosh darn it, she wore a bell and she wore it with pride. And we've never had a goat like her.
No, absolutely not. Her dad's blood runs through her.
Her dad is Ringo.
Yes, and she lived up to every expectation he had of a daughter. I'm sure of it because she took no crap from anyone. And she did not know boundaries ever. She could climb and ninja her way through any fence from little on. She was unkeepable in the yard. Then whenever she got her and Bam Bam got big enough and Big Trudy to go into the regular fenced in pastures, she would still find a way. If you saw the video today, you saw where Pig Trudy literally helped her get all the way through. And that was not uncommon for her. Still to this day, if a gate was just a barred gate, Pebbles will find a way to get where Pebbles wants to go. And she was headstrong and ornery. I just made a video about her climbing in the hay and just being so defiant in that realm a few weeks ago. Like she had a really good life.
You could never get mad at her, even though there were things that she did that warranted us being very angry at that little naughty girl. You couldn't be mad at her because she was just the way she would look at you. And like Jamie said, she's had a really rough go because she's Ringo's blood. She's been rough and she's lived a rough and tough life. She's broken her leg when she was a little bitty munchkin.
Sadly,
lost her
everyone
brother
at the vet's office knew Pebbles.
Everyone knew and loved Pebbles. And so I'm going to tell y'all that we're going to miss her. Yeah. You do. And I say this all the time. You love every single one of them. And there's a lot to love. But there's some of them that not only do you love them, but it's just like you just can't get enough of them. And you can't not find yourself gravitating towards them in everything that you do, be it on camera or off. A lot of stuff doesn't change. Sometimes we have the camera out, but when it's turned off, the same things happen. And you spend quality time with some. I remember one moment in the vet's office, they were doing something in the back. They had taken her blood and her stool sample, and they were doing all of their different tests and everything. And I'm sitting on this chair, the bench, and Pebbles walked right up to me. And I'm looking at her, and she's just looking at me. She's just looking right at me, just like staring at me. And I thought it was so sweet, and I'm loving her. And I just thought, this is a cute moment. So I put my phone over here to the side to record kind of a side profile view. And it probably went on for 10 minutes. Now, when I built my video of our vet visit, I didn't include the entire 10 minutes because it was just a small snippet of that entire visit. But it was 10 minutes that Pebbles and me just got a chance to really, really I don't want to say talk, even though we talked, and we loved, and I'm gonna miss those moments because she is one that would come and talk to you.
It's true.
She would
All on
come
her
and
own.
talk to you on her own. She wanted to be close, and whatever pasture she saw you in, she'd walk to that pasture to be close. And
That goat ate more of my hair than any other goat on that we've ever had. And she and Bam Bam were the first babies that I bottle fed 100% on my own. And they were just special, like, and full of emotion when Bam Bam passed away and Pebbles was depressed for weeks and laid in his spot and laid in that rocking chair. Oh,
someone
it's
asked,
hard.
how did I bury her? I didn't bury her. I made a fire and I cremated Pebbles. But I did it in a really beautiful way. I thought I did it in a way that I hoped would give. I made it. I don't want to say I made it into a Longhorn Lester tradition because I don't know the traditions of Longhorn Lester more than what I've read and stuff. But I did it in a way that I thought would be pleasing to all of those who've lived here before. But I kept it real to Pebbles as well. And so what I did was put her onto my tractor and I drove her down the hill. Jamie would not go. And I gathered up lots and lots of old limbs. There's a lot of limbs have fallen over the course of the year that we've been here in different storms and things. And I gathered up a large collection of limbs. And I made it to where I could get a fire started easy enough. I didn't need any diesel or no gasoline. It was just a good, solid wood kindling fire. And I don't want to say an altar. I feel like when I start saying I built kind of an altar, that I'm going into the biblical days of putting a lamb on an altar. It wasn't like that. It was just a fire. I didn't want things to eat her, Jamie.
Yeah.
I didn't want things to come by and eat her. And so I wanted to cremate her. And so I got myself worked up. I didn't mean to, but I lit the fire and it began to burn. And, Pebbles, she was already passed. And I don't know why, but I says, come on, littles. But in my little voice, I says, come on, littles. And I don't know. I just called out one last time to the littles, but not for anyone else, just for Pebbles. It was just for Pebbles that time. And she sat there and she burnt away. And I continued to feed the fire for probably close to an hour or so before it was where it is now. And I will miss when I call the littles and she doesn't come a running, because she was always up towards the front, always very feisty, always ready to get
with her bell.
With her bell. And so going back I'm a survivor now. We're a goat short. We're goat short, but we still have Ringo and Tilly and old Nanny Goat and Sissy. And I'll tell you what, Sissy, do you even know why I took Sissy back to I'm a Survivor and did not leave her here?
Because she was a loner.
So Sissy here was a loner, and they also picked on her.
Yeah.
But do you know why I took Pebbles back? I'm wondering if you guys know.
I'm like, are you asking me or are you asking them?
I'm really asking everybody. So it's in the Longhorn Lester videos. I know everyone doesn't have the time to watch them, but there was a reason why I took Pebbles back to I'm a Survivor. And it was only for one reason, because she didn't need to go for health reasons.
I'm guessing. I think I know.
Yes. Jamie, help me with this right here.
It just left. There's so many people saying it.
Everyone is saying it so fast. Jamie, help me, baby. You can read and I can't. They're all over the place.
It's going so fast.
Any of these is fine.
I seriously can't
Just
catch it.
Click anything and we'll see if they're right or wrong. Hold on.
I can't do it. No.
Okay, good enough.
Okay. I'm like,
So
I missed it. That's not the one I clicked.
that's not so if I in teaching, I would say I would rather you elaborate, Cindy, no offense, but you have to elaborate on that answer. You need to really work on some details. And then to Miss Valerie, I'd say, okay, Valerie, you are getting there. Yes, you're getting there. I'm sorry, but we did. We knew that if we take Sissy back, because Sissy had to go because of how mean all of these goats were to her, we knew that Sissy living there with old Nanny Goat and Tilly would become a new bully.
Oh, yes.
We did. And we did not want to have another character created in Sissy becoming now she's the bully. And so what my reasoning was, I'm going to take Pebbles. I even made a video about it. Said, you know what? I'm going to take Pebbles so Pebbles can keep Sissy in check.
It's true.
So that Sissy will remain Sissy, a sweet little lovable goat, and Pebbles can remain Pebbles, the goat to keep them all in line.
Yeah. She took no shit.
No.
From anyone.
No.
She was the sweetest soul. Like you talking about your talk with her. I'm going to cry again. She could look at you and look into your soul and just show you love. She didn't show, I don't think that she showed a lot of other goats love, but she certainly showed us.
Well, we have such a history with her.
Yes.
We sat on that porch on those rocking chairs for
she was born
a lot longer than what we should have, because she didn't need, we baby bottle fed her longer than we baby bottle fed any other goat.
She was born during the pandemic when everything was shut down. And we specifically, Lester, found more time than we had ever had before. And Lester, I'm sorry, you connected with her more than I think any other goat that you'd ever had. I would say that I would venture to say even more than Shirley. And Shirley was your first like real love. But gosh, we bottle fed her until way beyond.
Pebbles also used to love to play on the side-by-side. Yes. So the side-by-side was her thing, and she felt like she owned it. It was hers. As a matter of fact, any machinery out there belonged to Pebbles. Yes. It doesn't matter if I was doing a gift and goodie or if I was just driving by to feed up. She wanted to be with me. She'd jump on with me. And front seat, it was. She didn't want to run long beside. Nope, she wanted to ride in my lap. And so we had all kinds of memories of that. She was always one of the biggest troublemakers when I would do the gift and goodies out in the pasture. Always. Pebbles always gave me a black eye or two. Or stuck a horn in my eye a couple of times. But friends, you love them, and then sometimes you no matter how much you love them, you still lose them. And we lost our beloved Pebbles. But I do like when I read the comments, people say she's running with Maggie, she's jumping with Journey, she's hanging out with Bam Bam and doing all the things, hanging out with all of those who've left this earth before her. And I love that. My favorite memory I had to include this memory in the little tribute video. Is when I found myself at death's doorstep by getting trapped in the mud. I had gotten myself bogged down into what? Let's not call it mud. It was more like a tar pit. Tar pit sounds a little bit more. Yeah. I found myself stuck in a tar pit. And it just so happened that during those days, Pebbles and Maggie were always at my side. Couldn't go anywhere without Pebbles and Maggie. And as I had walked down amongst where the guys were building the pond back at Longhorn Lester's, I had slipped off into the tar pit. And in that tar pit, I found myself stuck from, it was just kind of my ankles down at first. But the more I struggled, the more I began to sink. And so I learned real fast that I've always heard you don't struggle. If you find yourself stuck in quicksand or in a tar pit or just sloppy mud. You just don't struggle. You get help. You stay calm and you get help. And so I screamed for help. I screamed for help. I screamed, Jamie, I screamed till I was just blue in the face. And no one seemed to take my screams seriously. So I had to reach over. My only other option was to reach over and take some of that mud. And I literally took hands full of mud and I scribbled on one side. I wrote SOS. And Pebbles stood there the whole time, just so ready to help me. And she was like shaking her head, like, go. And I'm like, no, Pebbles. But the other side, I wrote the word help, HELP. What? But for anyone that thinks, oh, Lester, this is another one of your fairy tales, you must be watching Walt Disney's. No, Pebbles waited until I had her all muddied up with the words SOS and help. And I said, now, Pebbles, go get help. And just like Lassie, you know Lassie? Just like Lassie's person would send Lassie off to help, Pebbles hobbled up that hill to go get help. Problem is, no one could read my writing because I guess I was in such distress and the mud was still slippery that it began to slide down her. And so all Pebbles did was come back needing a bath. It ended up being Lex and Connor and Jamie who finally came out to save me.
Lex and Connor did not come out to save you. They stood there eating cookies
they had
that
just
they
got
would not
back,
share with you.
Yeah, they had just got back from Subway, and Subway serves cookies now, and big cookies. So they're sitting there wondering if I really need help or if there's some way I can find myself out of this. But Lex did come along and Jamie finally come along, and together we were able to get myself out. But I really do admire, it was a great memory of Pebbles sitting there helping me.
She was just always around. You know, that was the time where you were riding to the back every morning on the side-by-side and you had Big Trudy and Pebbles all the time. There was even when Bam Bam was alive, he didn't go along like that. Pebbles was your partner.
Yeah, no, it was Pebbles. Bam Bam was always into the ladies. And he was a little bitty guy who already says, you know what? I am going to spend every last breath
Bam Bam
with these ladies.
4 days old. I have a video of him on the front porch, and Bam Bam is already trying to ride things at 4 days old. So he also had his father's genes in him, just in different ways. It's crazy to think about the memories that, for us, we know they happen, and I don't know if you feel this way, but it feels like yesterday, yet it also feels like so long ago. Does that make any sense to you at all? Like, it feels like it just happened. Like, it can't be that it's that far away, but it also feels like so much has happened in that time as well.
You mean since her passing?
Well, no, I mean since she was born.
Oh, since she was born.
Since she was born.
No, time does fly. Time does fly. And, you know, we can sit there and every day we go by and do our feet up, changing the waters. And you're constantly, sometimes when I'm making a video, I'll say we're doing a welfare check, like a kind of a joke, a welfare check. But no, we do. We go by and we do a head count and we check the welfare of the babies throughout the day. And check them all. You're
checking feet and eyes and mouth and
scratches and who's limping and wonder why they're limping. And, you know, of course, you're aware when one of them's not feeling well, but you don't let it freak you out. You don't get freaked out because animals like us, they get sick, and you cannot grab each one and run off to the vet.
You're not taking temperatures every day. You're not like you're just not. So when you start to notice something is off, you pay attention more, and then you go to your resources and you go through the things that you know for what you think it is. But like Lester says, you can't go to the vet every single day. We would literally be living there every day if that was the case.
So there's a whole plethora of things that Jamie can do that she's learned how to do, things that I can do that I've learned how to do. And we do all that we can, but there is a time. You also know when it's time to go.
Yes.
And at that point you go, you make your appointment. If you can wait that long, and if not, you just go and wait until a spot opens up. And so we took Pebbles in, and we thought that when we got her home, she was going to be fine. So it was a complete and utter shock that she didn't. But I don't know, Jamie. Well, we've lost many. We will lose more. It's something that I was telling a friend earlier, that when you've lived around animals, and this could be any animals, dogs or cats, or in our case, farm animals, especially when they're rescues and animals that don't come to you at the beginning of life, they've already been through quite the ordeal. You you get used to knowing that there is a balance with life and death, and that they're both inevitable. With every life, there's going to be that inevitable death. And so you could say that it should make you harder. It could desensitize you. It could make you stronger, and it should make you understand that this is just the way life is. And so, on one hand, you try to turn that part of your brain on to realizing that with life, there's going to be death. It'll happen to Jamie. It'll happen to me. It'll happen to all of us. It'll happen to those cows there behind us at some point. It happens. But then you also have that other part of the hard part about saying goodbye, and wondering if you did enough, and wondering if you could have found a way to prolong it for a little bit longer and stuff. So ultimately, what I'm coming out with today, and this is the way I feel, is that Pebbles and I had a really neat day together. We had a long truck ride where we talked to each other. And there was a moment there in the vet's office with all that they were doing to her that she come to me for reassurance. And I put my hands on her, and I scratched her horns, and I, made her feel like it was going to be okay. And then here at Longhorn Lester's, you are witness to this. She was happy in the pasture. She was happy in the pasture. And then, of course, where we found her the next morning is where she had passed, in her corner. Typical Pebbles, leaning up against stuff. Goats don't always lay flat. They like to lean against stuff. And she'd found her little nook, and she just leaned up there. And that's where she'd passed. There was no thrashing. There was no. And so I'm guessing that the other animals at some point woke up and began to make their way out. Beverly, I think, realized that Pebbles wasn't moving.
Oh, that was a hard part for me.
And really it was Pebbles. I'm sorry, Pebbles. It was Beverly that kept walking back and forth to the Wacky Pack shack. That's the little stall that we call the little goat house. And I'm out there, and I'm thinking, what is Beverly doing? Like, what is she doing? Normally, Beverly is right beside Dixie, like all the time. And for some reason, Beverly she kept going to look in the Wacky Pack shack. It got my curiosity. So I start looking to count goats, and all the goats are down eating along the lane, doing their morning routine. And as I start looking and counting, I don't see Pebbles. And so I just happened to walk over to the Wacky Pack shack, and that's where we discovered Pebbles. She never moved from her spot where she'd slept. And I'll say that whenever my time comes, I hope that I pass in a similar way. I hope that I will be there gathered in my little nook of the couch here behind me, I'm guessing. And hopefully one of the dogs will alert you to me not moving.
I might
Please
notice.
Don't let them just lick me like over and over and over and over. And yeah, it's okay to have the dogs alert you to me not moving. But at that point, go ahead and put the dogs out, please. Let's not let the dogs continue to lick on me. Just as a fun last joke.
I know that if you don't come to bed by 6 o'clock in the morning,
there you
something's
go.
wrong.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Either I'm mad or I'm dead.
Yeah. There is no in between.
And so I do what I've started to do that I hate to do, and I start medicating myself when these days happen so I can try to make sense of what I'm saying to you all.
Not me. I just cried out in front of y'all. Like, I feel like I've cried so much lately in these lives, and I don't mean to. I don't mean to.
So it's kind of like with Journey, and I'll have my moment. I will say this: I will have to have my moment, and I feel like I had my moment there at the river as I was cremating her, and I called out for my littles. I don't know why that was just what came out of my mouth. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why in the world would I say "come on, littles" while I'm cremating our passing goat? I don't know, but I just thought that was just I'm just going to scream that out. And so I did. And then that made me just open up. And that made me open up. And so I cried myself out yesterday. And then building the video last night, it was just as bad. But no, today I says, you know what? I am going to completely make it to where I'm desensitized to a lot of things.
Not me.
I know. I can't allow her to dope herself up.
No,
One of us got to be normal.
One of us has to be alert if something happens.
So, anywho, there's not a whole lot you can build off of after a moment like losing a baby. Jamie, I will say this: we've talked for so long about if we can ever get the right temperature and get my shoulder completely healed, that we want to do some stuff with the memorial garden back at I'm a Survivor. And Pebbles will have her spot back at I'm a Survivor. We're not going to start a memorial garden here. We're going to continue because Pebbles spent her life at I'm a Survivor. And so even though she may have passed here and she was cremated and buried here, she has returned. Her little spirit is there at I'm a Survivor with her friends. And so we're going to have her a spot there. And we are. I made this kind of a pledge today as I was over there working and cleaning up. I said, you know what? I'm going to get over there and I'm going to really make and work and do some magic if I can for the babies who we've lost, because we'll lose more. That happens.
But that memorial garden's been very special, and it's a reflection place, and it needs some work, but we will get it done. And it's just a way to honor those who have given us their time.
And they each have an amazing story. And what we have to always remember is that we have become their storyteller. And so Pebbles told us a story, y'all. Pebbles told us a story. I hope that we do justice when we try to tell you the stories that Pebbles has told us. And there, her Pebbles story is a whole lot more than a 6-minute video that you watched today on her passing. Pebbles' story goes back into years of videos, some videos that may have been titled something with Pebbles, and some videos where she just showed up just to knock the hell out of somebody, usually me. But Pebbles has told us a story. It's a story of adversity and overcoming adversity. Her story is one of losing someone who she was dear to in her little Bam Bam brother, and yet finding the strength, overcoming depression, battling herself through the grief that she felt, sitting there in that rocking chair after so many nights where they would both take a chair, and she continued to sit in her chair, and then she moved over to his chair. And so her story is a lot more than her passing. Her story was for the hundreds and thousands of moments that she had, moments that take your breath away while she was here. And so we chronologue those events in videos, and we're blessed to be able to go into our archives now. And Jamie went to her phone last night and was able to pull up so many beautiful memories and wonderful things. And our fear with making a video when we lose an animal is we don't want to make it too long, because we know that we want you to understand it and enjoy it. And so there's a whole lot more to come on Pebbles. But no, we have a lot of stories out there in that memorial garden, a lot of animals that had great stories. And we want to one day be able to do a type of garden that we can kind of make a walk down memory lane. If you can kind of see my vision here, a walk down memory lane and be able to reflect and talk on all of them and share the
Yes.
stories of those for those who haven't been a part of I'm a Survivor long enough to know. You finding someone being a jerk?
Yeah. I'm just done with that for right now.
Okay. Can you tell me what they were doing?
No.
You don't want to talk about it?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I don't really have a whole lot more to say. I appreciate the folks who emailed and the comments here and your condolences. And I know that you too will miss Pebbles as much as we will and do. And the farm has changed. It's will be different now without Pebbles.
Yes.
But we are hoping that we'll eventually have more baby goats. We love goats, and they don't do much for us besides help with some of all of the
It's the
growth,
brush and
eat the brush, and they keep all the nasty weeds and things that we don't want here. They help us with all of that. They're very easy to maintain, very easy for the most part, and they have great personalities.
They bring us joy. When you said they don't do much, but I think you should retract that because they bring us a lot of joy.
I mostly meant as far as we don't have to work.
Oh,
ghosts
yeah.
don't require a lot of work.
Yeah.
They're mischievous and they can keep you on your toes.
And they can eat trees and plants and break out, but you still love them and you still wouldn't trade them. Most of them. I'm teasing. No, Pebbles was a joy, and we're gonna miss her.
Yeah, we will miss her. All right. Well, I will just say thank you all for watching, and thank you all for taking some time this afternoon, on this Sunday afternoon, this Sunday evening, to hang out with us for a little bit. We're very blessed. I just can't say that enough, how blessed we are that you would want to spend time with us, just us. And we also thank you for loving a goat who you've never met, and for loving her so much and for her meaning so much to you.
Yes.
You know, and anything?
No. Sorry.
All right, folks. We will see you guys on the next video. You want to talk about anything coming up this week on your channel that you want to talk about, or just want to let it go?
No. Just thanks for joining us tonight and for loving Pebbles and loving us.